Yes, I noticed several faces that were with us, around us, and supporting us, both during the difficult days of Ohrid and Preспа negotiations. And I have to say that it's a privilege to see you in good times, because usually you were around us in very difficult times. I have to say that the two lakes and the two agreements that carry their names have the same mission in mind. And this was the creation of a functioning multi-ethnic democracy integrated in Europe and NATO, in the European Union and NATO. And although we are marking the 20th anniversary of the Ohrid Agreement, the 30th anniversary of our independence as a nation, and the 3rd anniversary of Preспа Agreement, we have to say that a lot of our accomplishments were in the foundations of the two agreements. And I think that the two agreements have lots of similarities. First, they were so difficult, they were so unpredictable, but they were in the same time lifesaver for our country. Can you imagine, what this country looked back in 2001, when we have actually asked NATO to come and intervene in order to safeguard our stability and our unity? So can you imagine 20 years afterwards, we are a nation member of NATO, of the same alliance, because of Ohrid and because of Preспа. And to add on this, after 30 years of turbulent relationship with Greece, to have Greek airplanes air patrolling our skies, this is a major accomplishment. And I know that challenging times are ahead of us, but we need to appreciate progress to be able to recreate progress again. The second similarity between Ohrid and Preспа is that it was clearly an event that took us by surprise, and clearly no one expected a successful outcome. And this is why maybe it was easier for all the leaders to negotiate without the pressure of expectations, because the expectations were very low. It was a lonely road. Most of the people who were supporting Ohrid and Preспа were severely criticized within our public. The easy thing to do those days was to oppose the agreements, to say that they will not work, to create fear that the other side will not perform. I cannot recall the many discussions that we have had with our supporters saying, at the end of the day, the Greeks will not follow through. And I'm sure that Alexis and his team had the same. But it was a road less traveled, but I think that both Ohrid and Preспа show that the really important decisions are always taken by people who dare to take unpopular decisions. And this is probably the big lesson from both of them. There is one big difference, though, and I think several people have mentioned it. Ohrid Agreement was severely international product. We have negotiated, we have contributed, there were lots of fights, but in essence, the framework, the content was very much influenced by international factors. I think the big success of this region is that Preспа Agreement is really a homemade, a region-made document, and it speaks volumes of the progress that the countries and the regions have made. Nicola reminded me of Greek methodology. I have to admit that I was really, really fascinated by Greek methodology most of my childhood years. And I remember, I was, of course, I always had my favorites, and one of them was definitely the goddess of Athena. And I remember that she was seen as someone who is brave and courageous and ready to fight, but stronger than the god of war, Ares, because she was always interested in trying to find a solution first, and then, if that doesn't work, go to war. And I think this was the logic, this was the emotion and the rationale that led the leaders to first try and solve the problem that was stuck and that we got so used to having. Finally, let me say that Balkan disputes and our disputes have always resembled a bit the Rubik's Cube. You think you have it. You will make the blue color, and then you will go to the orange, and then on the third color something will go wrong. We have always needed all things to be in unison. We always needed all the stars to be aligned in order for the agreement to work. We needed Greece, we needed North Macedonia, we needed internationals, both EU and the US, for the agreements to work. And this is why I do believe that we shouldn't underestimate the risks of continued implementation of Prespa, just as we couldn't underestimate the risks of implementing Ohrid. The signing is the beginning, and then the really difficult work starts. I do believe that the Prespa agreement implementation, which has been mentioned by many people, requires a European context. I remember when we were at the end of the negotiations, NATO had its issues, and there were lots of doubts about the alliance and about the future. We took a leap of faith, and we believed that it will bring us to membership. And fortunately, it worked. And we can say that this is a success that united us. But I do believe that Prespa needs Europe as well. And I have heard many times in the last 2 years especially, it is not a question of if, it is only a question of when. But if I'm honest, I'll have to say that I've grown old listening to the same sentence because the process has been going too long. And in the word of Keynes, in the long run, we're all dead, right? So the time has come. We have taken our leap of faith, and for the first time, we have delivered with a lot of leadership and a lot of enthusiasm and knowledge. And I do believe that Europe will seize its own success and will allow us to continue implementing both Ohrid and Prespa and lots of other demanding reforms by sending a powerful message to all the other countries in the region that working hard and making difficult, courageous and necessary decisions pays off. Thank you.
Thank you.